Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello dear students. So now in this video, in this particular chapter, we will be discussing about the income tax provisions relating to rectification of mistakes. We will be studying what are the mistakes, what mistakes can be rectified as per the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961. So let us start. Dear students, kindly note that as we often say that to err is human and to forgive divine. In the same way, you should note that errors, that some mistakes may be there. We are human being, and some mistake may be there. Some mistake may occur, and it may be, and in some ways, as per the provisions of the Act, it may be rectified. Some types of mistakes are such that we are able to rectify those mistakes, and it may not be feasible and it may not be possible for each and every type of mistake. So let us learn about that, and it is very useful in practical life also. First of all, a simple meaning of mistake. What is mistake? What is mistake? First of all, we should note what is the meaning of mistake. In simple language, kindly note that mistake is something which is very much clear, which is very much apparent, which is very much obvious from the records, or which is very much obvious from the orders passed by the assessing officer. Kindly note. And again, one thing you should note, my dear students, that it should be clear. It should be clear from the records or orders, and it is not a mistake that requires some sort of elaboration, debate, or detailed investigation, etc. So it should be kept in mind. So once again, if we summarize the meaning of mistake, which can be easily rectified, so that type of mistake which is apparent, which is very much clear from the records, and which is very much clear from the orders passed by the assessing officer, and and it seems that there is some mistake. You may say that it is very much apparent. Anyone, by just going through the orders, but just going through the, you may say, records, he or she will be able to find it. But it should not be requiring debate, detailed elaboration, detailed investigation, etc. In that case, that will not be the mistake which can be rectified under these provisions, which we are going to learn. Now, kindly note that now what the question arises: what types of mistakes are there which can be rectified? So some mistakes, as we have already discussed, some mistakes are rectifiable. So first, kindly note that these types of mistakes are these types of mistakes can be rectified by the income tax authorities under section 154. First of all, you must know, any order, kindly note, any order passed under any provisions of income tax, any order passed under any order passed under any provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961. So that is, in case some mistake is there, that is, we have already discussed, that is clear, that is very much apparent. So such order passed by an assessing officer under the provisions of Income Tax Act may be easily rectified. Now second, any intimation or any deemed intimation, which has been sent by the authorities, by the assessing officer under section 143 subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act 1961, that can be rectified, in case it is found, in case it is clear, it is very much clear, it is evident that some mistake is there. So it can also be very easily rectified. Then, in case some TDS is there, sorry, in case some intimation is there relating to processing of TDS returns, in case some mistake is there in the intimation sent with regard to TDS return, then the intimation basically passed under section 200A subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act 1961. So in this case also it can be easily rectified. Then any intimation sent under section 206 CB of the Act. Now kindly note that it is related to intimation regarding processing of TCS returns. So if we think in simple parlance, any order passed, any intimation sent, any intimation regarding TDS returns, any intimation regarding TCS returns, so these may be easily rectified. Now again, the question arises, rectification of order which is subject to appeal or revision. Kindly note that there may be some order that constitutes the subject matter of any appeal. Some appeal has been filed upon that, you may say, order, and that is the subject matter of that appeal, or some revision proceedings are there, and this order is the subject matter of that particular appeal or that particular revision. Then what will happen? Kindly note that in that case, the matter that has been decided in such an appeal or revision, it can't be rectified. It can't be rectified further. It can't be rectified by the assessing officer. It should be noted. And once again, if an order is a subject matter of any appeal, then what the assessing officer can do? Then the assessing officer can rectify the matter. You may say the remaining matter may be rectified by the assessing officer. Now, what is the remaining matter? That part which has not been decided by the appellate authority. So kindly note. I think I have already discussed in the chapter of appeal what are the authorities where the assessee may move and appeal. So accordingly, the part that has already been decided by them, or regarding that part, assessing officer can't do anything. But regarding the remaining part, which has not been decided by the appellate authority, assessing officer is free to rectify that matter, that remaining matter, you may say. So it must be noted. Now again one question arises that mistake is there, mistake has been found. Now what to do? Who is there, by whom the proceeding of rectification, you may say, will be started, will be initiated, will be commenced? So various issues are there. Kindly, we will be discussing these one by one. First of all, kindly note that even income tax authorities can rectify the mistake in case it is found by them on its own motion, without any demand, without any application from the assessee. In case they now came to know that it is there, then income tax authorities are free to rectify the mistake on their own. So it may be rectified. Now, secondly, generally the second point is more applicable. It seems more applicable. Now, what is the second point? The taxpayer can intimate the mistake to the income tax authority, and that seems much relevant. Much common, and it is much justifiable that in case some order has been received by you, by me as taxpayer, and we we find that some mistake is there, and we will intimate the income tax authorities regarding that mistake, and we will make an application to the income tax authorities to rectify the mistake. It is more common. Then, in case, kindly note that in case the CIT, Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals, is there, and I think you might be knowing that authority, first authority to whom we may file an appeal, and aggrieved assessee may file an appeal. He is basically CIT appeals only, and I think let us revise for a while. First of all, four authorities are there. First is CIT appeals. Then we had learned ITAT, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, and third is High Court, and the last one is the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court. So it must be noted. Now, what is the relevance of discussing those authorities here? Kindly note that in case the order was passed by the Commissioner Appeals, CIT Appeals, then CIT Appeals can rectify mistake that has been brought to his notice by the assessing officer or by the taxpayer. Even I think you know that even assessing officer may also move, and in case it is found that some mistake is there, so assessing officer may also intimate them Commissioner Appeals, or even the taxpayer may also bring it to the notice of the Commissioner Appeals, and then it will be rectified by them. One more thing is there, dear students, and it is very much relevant also. And my advice to you is that you must try to remember these limits, as it will be very useful in practical life also. So we are discussing what is a time limit for rectification. So first of all, kindly note that regarding rectification, it should be noted that the order of rectification can be passed, you should note, within 4 years. In other language, we may say that a rectification order cannot be passed after the expiry of 4 years. From which date it will be counted? From the end of the financial year in which from the end of the financial year in which this order in which such order which we want to rectify, which is sought to be rectified, was passed. So kindly note that 4 years limit is there. Now again one thing, dear students, you must keep in mind that this period of 4 years is calculated, is counted from the date of order sought to be rectified. The order which is in question, which is required to be rectified, which we are seeking to be rectified, the period of 4 years will be counted from that particular date, and not from the date of original order. It should be noted. Now, once again, in case, kindly note that in case some order was there and it was set aside, or you may say it was revised, then what will happen? Then what will be the provision applicable? Then kindly note that again, in case a mistake is there, and we know that period of application for rectification is 4 years. Now again the question arises, from which date the period of 4 years will be counted? Again, dear students, kindly keep in mind that in that case, it will be the period of 4 years will be counted from the date of such fresh order, new order of revision setting aside, or from the date of that order, the period of 4 years will be counted, and it will not be counted from the date of the original order. So it should also be kept in mind. And then, in case, kindly keep in mind that in case application is made by the taxpayer, and what will be the role of, what will be the responsibility of the income tax authorities? Kindly keep in mind that in that case, the authority shall amend the order, or the authority shall refuse to amend the order. Only these things are there. Either they may go for it and amend the order accordingly, or they may refuse to do so, refuse to revise the order. But it should be done, it should be completed. There is a time limit for this only. This also, kindly note, it should be completed within 6 months. Within 6 months, from which date? From the date of, from the end of the month in which application is received by the authority. So it should be noted. Let us suppose the application has been moved by the assessee. Assessee has applied on, you may say, 15th of, you may say 17th of August. He has applied, and let us assume on 27th, you may assume on 27th of August he has applied, and this order has been received by income tax authority on, let us suppose, 5th of September. Then in that case, from the end of the month, that is from the end of September, within 6 months you may count from September, October, November, December, January, Feb and March. So up to March 31st, the authorities have the power. They shall amend it, or they shall refuse to amend it within 6 months, and not later than that. From which date we will be counting? We will be counting from the date, or from the end of the month in which the application made by the applicant has been received by the income tax authority. Now again, as I have already told you, that some procedure is there. You will have to you will have to go by that established that procedure. Now, what is that procedure? Kindly note. First of all, it should not be there. It should not be habitual that some order has been received and you are now preparing for its revision, its rectification. It is not so. It should not be so. It will unnecessarily create burden on the assessee, and unnecessary it will increase the work of income tax authorities, which are already overburdened. So what should be there? First of all, kindly note that, let us suppose order is received, or order has been received, then it is a duty of the taxpayer. It is a duty of the taxpayer to study it very carefully. Very careful study is needed, very carefully, not lightly, rather very careful study should be made of the order. Each and every line should be studied and interpreted. Proper interpretation should be made. And then, in case some mistake is there, as I have already told you, that mistake may be there. It is not something that is that can't be there. In case it is found, and assessee has very carefully studied the order, and he has found some mistake, and that is, you may say, real mistake. Again, the assessee should try to ensure existence of mistake. Once again, it is better. Once again, he should ensure that yeah, really this mistake is there. Again, once now we are clear, we are sure the mistake was there and it was evident. And again, I am telling you, as I have told you in the first slide, that it is not something that it is not something that requires some detailed elaboration, some debate, some detailed investigation. It is not so. It is some simple mistake that is obvious, that is evident from the records itself. So what the taxpayer will do? Taxpayer will file an application for the rectification of mistake. And kindly note, for the convenience of taxpayers, and thanks to the IT, thanks to the information technology, and thanks for the utilization of information technology by the taxation department, that now taxpayer can even file the application for rectification of mistake through e-mode. online mode. So online application can also be made. But it should also be noted that for rectification of intimation, as I have already told you, I think you might be aware that section 200 A subsection 1 and 206 CB, as we have already discussed in the earlier slides, that these are relating to TCS and TDS. So in that case, online correction statement is required to be filed by the assessee. So it should be kept in mind. Now again, one thing you should be noted that you see, common parlance, thinking is there. Common thinking is there that in case, kindly note that in case your tax liability is being increased, we are discussing that when a reasonable opportunity of being heard should be given to the assessee. Kindly note that in case something is there that as a result of rectification of the mistake, let us suppose as a result of rectification of the mistake, the uh, tax liability, the tax liability of the taxpayer, or we may say tax liability of the deductor, is increased. You see, it is being increased. Earlier it was 50,000, now it is going to be 60,000, let us suppose. Or the refund is reduced. You see the difference? Uh, Something that was in our favor, uh, something that was not in our favor, you may say tax burden, that is increased, and something that is in our favor, we want more and more refund. Let us suppose it is not possible that government is giving you more and more refund, but my point is ki simply you are entitled to some refund, but as a result of the rectification, that amount is being reduced. Earlier, the refund was, let us suppose, 10,000, but now, as a result of rectification of mistake, that refund is just rupees 7,000. Then, what will happen? So, kindly note that in case before passing such order, which type of order? Which has the, you may say, which has the impact of enhanced assessment, enhanced tax liability, or reduced refund. Reduced refund. So before passing such orders, before passing such orders, a reasonable opportunity of being heard should be given to the assessee. He should be he should be free to give his justifications, give his or her explanations, and by keeping that in mind, by considering all those explanations, details, you may say, given by the assessee, then only the final order should be passed. Okay, okay, students. So this was very small chapter. So this was the, you may say, the provisions relating to rectification of mistakes as per the Income Tax Act 1961. Okay, students, thank you.